Alright guys, welcome back. I say welcome back as if there's a lot of people watching this that even watched my first video. If you're one of those people, then that's awesome. Hi. Anyways, just wanted to throw up a quick video, a little bit of a reaction video and kind of my thoughts on carry guns and the NorthWind. I think his channel name was like NorthWind Ariel or something like that. The guy that blew a hole through his holster and lost a testicle. Anyway, just talking about hammer fired versus striker fired pistols, kind of what I'm thinking of moving forward, and just gonna do a quick little tabletop overview of my Walther PDP and my USP 45 compact. Different guns, different calibers, but more conceptual video talking through what I think my preference is. For sure hammer fired guns, and then also more specific than that, the HK LEM hammer fired guns that I really like. So without further ado, let's go to the tabletop. Alright guys, here we are. Like I said, Walther PDP striker fired pistol, HK USP 45 compact hammer fired pistol. We'll start one at a time. We'll talk about what I like and what I don't like about both options, and then moving forward, what I think. Also, I guess I'll preface this with I'm no expert or anything. This is literally just a random guy on the internet's opinions. So I just know I like hearing different people's opinions or takes on why they do things, which is ultimately why I started this channel. So I'll save the best for last. This is my striker fired Walther PDP JM custom Kydex holster right here. Really good holster. You'll see that with all my guns, but definitely with a striker fired pistol, I would recommend having a Kydex holster that completely covers the trigger guard. I guess one comfort thing off the bat, if we are comparing to hammer fired pistols, is bring the USP back in here. I do have a light on this, and see the holster a little bit, I guess, wider. There's not a lot of a gap here in the trigger guard, like I can't get a finger in there or anything. I know some people with bigger lights, they'll have bigger gaps in the holsters. And for instance, that video that's been going viral recently where the guy accidentally shot himself had a pretty big trigger guard because he had an X300 on there. So that's one consideration. I don't know if I would feel as comfortable rocking a light bearing holster with a striker fired gun, just because it gives more margin of error for something to get caught in that trigger guard. And the reason I say that is I guess the same thing could get caught in this trigger guard, but when I holster this, because of the hammer right here, I put my thumb on this hammer and there's no way this gun's gonna go off. So even if there was a rope that got stuck or a fray of my belt or t-shirt or something got in my holster and I went to reholster and something's caught on the trigger, by the way, I have safety checked these, the gun cannot fire unless the hammer goes back like you see there. So if something's stuck in there and I have my thumb on the hammer, I mean, I'm pulling hard. I would definitely feel that hammer trying to go back, and I would know, okay, let's take a look. So that's one reason I like doing the light bearing with a hammer fired gun. Anyways, little tangent there. Let's get into the PDP. So striker fired gun. The pro of this, I would say, one is cost. I think striker fired guns tend to be more affordable, or kind of in like a more mid-tier or budget price range, which is nice, especially when you look at value. Like this whole setup with the optic, really nice trigger, extended mag well, is all that together is like the price of some hammer fired guns when you're looking at HKs, Berettas, CZs, etc. I really like to optics compatibility. Striker fired guns, most common guns I feel like out there nowadays, you're gonna be able to find red dot support. So for this Walther, for example, it's direct milled with the Aimpoint Acro. Then I have backup iron sights. Finding a good hammer fired red dot host is pretty hard. I'm kind of looking at HKs. You could direct mill, you could do the Right Armory, Langdon. You have a lot of different options, but they all come with some negatives. And the Beretta 92 I know has some red dot options, but CZ, SIG, there's just far fewer out there. So the striker fired gun, you're probably gonna have an easier time outfitting with an optic. You're also probably gonna be able to find a really good trigger. So clear, the trigger on this is the full send trigger, as Joel Park says. Very, very nice trigger. Show you a reset here. Very little reset. So just the simplicity, I think, of a striker fired pistol is really appealing. You know, the only kind of levers on the outside of the gun, you got your mag release, or sorry, slide release, and then you have your mag release right here. Pretty slick pistols. You have one trigger press to kind of work on and train on, and very reliable, simple to maintain. So those are some of the pros of striker fired pistols. The biggest con in my mind is, after watching that video, is just the potential, I guess, safety consideration. I preface this with saying striker fired pistols are safe. Like, the only way that this is going to go off is if something pulls that trigger. I guess what I'm saying is just having one more thing to help negate potential human error over the thousands of times I will holster and reholster in my life is kind of a nice peace of mind. Obviously, I try to be as safe as I can, but even if it's a small chance, having something like this that I can put my thumb on that hammer while I reholster is a huge peace of mind. So after that video, it really has me considering going to just all hammer fired guns. Not sure which route I would go, if I'd go all HK LEMs or if I'd maybe try the Beretta 92 series of pistols. That's, I guess, to be determined. But anyways, we will move into the HK now. All that to say, this gun's great. There's nothing wrong with this gun. It's probably one of the best like value pistols you could have. I also just released a video talking about, you know, training with one gun or one style of gun and sticking to it. And I was, you know, showcasing the PDP, but the more I think about what I like hammer fired guns. I like HKs. I think, me personally, I'd rather just commit to maybe all HKs and just have a system of like, okay, they all have paddle mag releases, potentially all hammer fired, and then even if they're not, if I need something real small like a VP9cc, it's at least like a very familiar manual of arms. So that is striker fired. Now, hammer fired. I love this gun. I plan to do a dedicated video on this. This is my USP 45 Compact. This is my favorite pistol I've ever owned. I feel the way about this that Firearm Freedom, I think, feels about the Springfield TRP. For me, it's just the absolute perfect size. Like, the slide length is nice. It's right around 3.9 inches with the threaded barrel. It's coming in at 4.5 inches overall length. That's very comfortable to conceal carry for me. I wouldn't really want to go longer than that. I could go shorter, maybe 4 inches, but shorter than that, it's just too short for me. So really is a sweet spot slide length wise. I have the TLR7 HLX on here on a Mr. 9 rail. I mean, that's a negative of the USP series, is you have to spend another 100 credits there on a rail just to get a light on, but it's very durable. Suppressor height sights, these are Angry Bear, just, you know, a little taller there with a green dot blocked out rear. This is factory LEM, so we are clear. And I know I should take the mag out. We are clear. So with the hammer fired guns, like I said, one of the biggest pros is putting your thumb on that hammer when you reholster. That is huge, and that is a really nice peace of mind. Another pro is having double strike capability, and also I feel like just I don't know, there's something about a hammer-fired pistol that feels nice. I don't know if there's a difference when shooting it, because having to cock that hammer as the slide goes back, if that helps to slow down recoil or anything. But shooting this pistol, I honestly enjoy more than shooting the PDP, and it's chambered in 45. So I'll show you the trigger here. I really like the HK LEM trigger, law enforcement modification. This is not a double action, single action trigger. I guess I think of this as maybe double action only, but the double action is super light because there's a spring right here. That's your hammer spring that's in the back of the pistol. That's pre-cocked already. So instead of having a really heavy trigger pull, it's super light right here. It's the length of a traditional double action pull, but it's the weight of a single action. Like, it's nothing for me to do this. And you see when I do that, the hammer goes back. Goes back to what I'm saying. When I holster, I can block that, so there's no way the gun will go off in the holster. So really light, and then boom, you can pull the trigger there. So let me do that again, show you the reset. You get back to that wall, break your shot, and then show you the reset, and then back at the wall. If I let it go, it goes back all the way. One other benefit, I guess, of the LEM setup is that you'll never forget to decock. I've heard stories of guys that are shooting double action, single action pistols. You're shooting, it ends up in single action, and then you go to reholster, you forgot to decock, and you have a single action gun with no safety. That's a little sketchy. With the LEM trigger style, when you're done shooting, you let go of the trigger, it kind of automatically decocks it for you. Another nice safety feature. So I just feel a lot more comfortable with a hammer-fired pistol, I think, for in the waistband concealed carry, and that's because I just know that I'm not perfect, and I want to, if I can reduce mistakes in the future, like that would be super severe, I will do that. There are trade-offs. One is if you're like me and you really like HK hammer-fired pistols, finding one, well, they don't make one that's cut for a red dot, which sucks. So you're either gonna have to mill your slide, and then that has other issues because you might have like an exposed firing pin block spring, which I don't love the idea of. And then you're just obviously doing something aftermarket, and it's expensive. So those are definitely some of the negatives. You know, if I get rid of the PDP and switch to just all hammer fired, you know, I'll definitely consider HK, maybe another LEM setup, maybe a P30, maybe a USP in 9, or maybe I've been looking at like double action, single action Beretta 92s. They just came out with a new like Langdon version. I think it's like the 92G Elite LTT 2. It's a mouthful, and they have like a million variations of the same gun. But if they come out with a Centurion version of that, which is just a shorter slide and I think a little shorter grip, I'd be curious to shoot that. I've shot a 92 once, and it was like really smooth. So anyways, that's kind of where my head's at. I'm thinking about ditching the PDP and moving into just full-time hammer-fired gang. Now the question is, do I keep the manual of arms the same by just sticking with all HKs? You know, if I go to a P30 LEM, same trigger, same mag release location, so I have consistency there. I could pretty much go any HK hammer-fired pistol and kind of still be maintaining that concept of, you know, training with one platform. I guess it's less specific to one gun, but the manual of arms and shootability is very similar if you're just sticking to one platform. Not sure if I'll do that or not. Like I said, the 92s are nice. Been looking at those, but I'll keep you guys updated. And also, I plan to do a full video on the USP 45 Compact in the future. This was just a quick overview. You know, if I could only keep one pistol, I think I'd keep this because I can easily carry this every day in shorts and a t-shirt. I feel comfortable shooting this. I don't feel outgunned ever. And then also I can throw on a suppressor and have it by the bedside at night. So it really is a great do-all pistol. Only negative is not having the red dot cut. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know if you have any questions or just thoughts below. Like I said, not telling you guys how to live, just sharing my thoughts at the moment. Thanks. Bye.